The NFL season is right around the corner, so today we're doing some NFL power rankings, going through all 32 teams. Kick it off with 32. It's the New Orleans Saints. I think this could be one of the worst teams in football. I had them in the bottom 2, bottom 3 for like months now. And every day it feels like they're dropping lower. I watched one of their preseason games the other day when their starters were in, and it was a mess. I think this team is going to get blown out quite a bit, but not to worry. They're going after probably Arch Manning or one of the other great quarterbacks coming out this year. So, they'll get something out of it. Coming in at 31st is a team that has too many quarterbacks that they got to figure out. You got the Cleveland Browns. Not sure what their plan is. They're starting with Joe Flacco. I doubt he'll be the quarterback through 17 games because they're going to be bad. They're going to lose games, and then it's a great excuse to move on to the next 2-3 guys. I'm sure they'll all get a shot at some point. They got to figure out what they have because they're not making the playoffs this year, let's be honest. And this is just one of those growing years. Figure out what you have and get a good draft pick. So 31st for the Cleveland Browns. Coming in at 30th, a team that just used their draft pick to get the top quarterback in the draft. It's Cam Ward, one of the most lowest expectations for a number 1 overall pick in quite some time. Part of that, I think, is the fact he's in Tennessee, but the other part is he's not quite as good as some of these other number 1 overall picks. I've heard that if he was drafted like a year before, he would have been, 3rd or 4th quarterback taken off the board, so make of that what you will. The roster just isn't that great, but they have some upside, and it could be a bright future if things work out, especially with Ward. But moving on to 29 now, this is a team that brutal schedule for this year. The schedule is so bad and the team is pretty rough as well. They should just go ahead and start tanking right off the bat. The D-line's solid. They have they have neighbors on offense. Jackson Dart will probably get a chance to play at some point. So there's some exciting things with this Giants team this year, but they're not going to be great. They're not going to be great, and it's a tough time for New York sports because coming up next in this list at 28 is the other team from New York. I think the Jets are better. I think the Jets have more talent on paper, but they're confusing. They had a lot of talent last year, and they went 5-12 with Aaron Rodgers playing every game. Made no sense to me. I know they lost an unbelievable amount of close games, so we'll see. I think this is a team that could surprise this year, win 7-8 games. But they're towards the bottom of the league for sure. It could be a rough year, but maybe Justin Fields blows up. We'll see. Could be fun. Coming in at 27, we have the Vegas Raiders. I like the additions this year. I like the direction the franchise is headed. I think they're making the perfect moves to set them up for success in the near future. This isn't the year that they're going to take some big leap. This is the year they can maybe be more competitive in more of their games, but they're not going to make a big jump. The roster has a lot of holes, but again, like I said, trending in the right direction. I like what they're doing there. I like the coaching hire, the QB. I like it. But coming in at 26, it's the Carolina Panthers, another team heading in the right direction slowly but surely. Bryce Young played very, very well at the end of last year. Now he has a weapon, a new weapon to help him out. So I think the offense could be pretty good in Carolina if they can keep it up. The defense, it's going to be rough, but I think this is a stepping stone year. I think if they make the right moves next offseason, they could really be a threat next year, but not this year. Coming in at 25, a team that I don't even know anymore. I don't know with the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, clock's ticking, man. This is year 5? They need to start winning some games. They got to stop drafting in the top 5. So they got Travis Hunter and all that. So they've made some additions to the roster. The roster's decent. They have Cohen now as the coach. We'll see. Maybe they can turn around. I'm seeing some people have them as a sneaky AFC South champion, but we'll see. Coming in at 24, a team, Seahawks fans, I'm sorry. I'm low on them this year. I really am. This is a team, you cannot convince me this team got better. This is a team that they traded Geno Smith for Sam Darnold, downgrade in my opinion. They lost Metcalf and Lockett, and they picked up an aging Kupp who, when he's on the field, he's pretty solid. He did lose a step last year, but he's still pretty solid. But he can't stay healthy. The Rams basically gave him away and signed another player at his same age, and I think that should tell you something, unfortunately. Coming at number 23, we're talking about a team that they have injury problems. They have locker room problems. What's going on in Miami? They feel like they certainly have some talent, but at the same time, they feel on the verge of imploding. And of course, Tua can't stay healthy. So, I mean, if Tua's not on the field, none of this matters. They'll be toast early in the year. The roster, it's below average. So I think 23 is about right for these Miami Dolphins. We'll see. It's going to be a weird year for them. Coming at number 22, this is a team that they have one of the smallest ceilings and floors. I think they have a fairly good floor. You know, I don't think they're going to win like 2 or 3 games. I think they'll at least get to that 5-6 mark. But this is a team that there's no way they're winning more than 9 or 10 games. Like they're going to fit. They're going to get like 7 or 8 wins, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. And they're going to be all right. They're going to probably take care of the teams they should, and they're going to lose to the teams that are better than them. It's just they have a good roster, not great, middle of the road, a bit below average. But coming at 21, this is a team, a lot of upside, and Falcons fans have gone back and forth with them this year. They're very high on their team, as everyone is with their own team. I'm just a little lower on them. I don't love Penix. I don't think they made enough moves on defense to really say that you improved it enough to start winning more games. So we'll see. They have a lot of good pieces. I like the talent there, and I think they're trending definitely in the right direction, but I just am not super high on them this year. Coming out at number 20, this is a team who their record might be a little better than they actually are, because it's one of the easiest schedules in the league. But this Patriots team made all the right moves this offseason, it felt like. And I love the Vrabel hire, and they should be pretty solid. They should win some games, and they're still a young team, though, and so they should still lose some games that maybe they shouldn't. But I think they're trending super well in the right direction, and I think the next couple years are going to be awesome for them if Drake May continues to play well. Coming in at number 19, I think this is a team that could skyrocket up these rankings if they play their cards right. You got the Ben Johnson-led Chicago Bears this year. I love what I saw from them in the preseason so far. I think the offense is going to be great. Can the defense hold up? They don't want to be playing in shootouts every week. So we will see. I'm optimistic about the Bears this year. I think they have a lot of talent, and they could really pull it off, but you got to be careful. They still haven't proved anything yet. So moving on to 18, this is a team that has felt just on the edge of taking that next step for years. It feels like they're right there. This is the year. Oh, they're 6-1. This is the year, and then they just keep falling off. So I don't know about them this year. I think they have they have a lot of good pieces, a lot of good talent. They really shored up their defense, and on paper they should be a pretty solid team. They should win some games, but can they put it together for a full season? We will see. I'm optimistic about the Cardinals this year. I think they could be sneaky good. Coming in at 17 now, though, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Oh man, what a bizarre situation. They still got to get Parsons figured out. At least in the time I'm recording this, they haven't figured that out yet. But I'm sure he will play for them this year at some point. But this is a team, a lot of star talent. They could have an explosive offense. Dak is pretty underrated when healthy. However, they have tons of holes. I don't know how their running game is going to be. Their O-line is going to be weaker than it's been in the past. So we'll see. Middle of the pack, but they could prove me wrong. We'll see. Coming in at number 16 now. This one, I have them low. I understand. I like Shanahan. They have a lot of top tier talent, but outside of that top tier talent, they have a lot of weak players, a lot of young players they're relying on. And here's the big thing. I don't trust them to stay healthy. It doesn't even sound like they're going to be healthy coming into the season. So not sure about them. I really think if they stayed healthy, put it together, they could be a top 10 team. But right now, they got to start proving that last year was a fluke. And until that, they're sitting at 16. At 15, though, Pittsburgh Steelers, another team. This team could shoot up. I love what they're doing there. Tomlin always puts out a competitive team. Now they have Aaron Rodgers, best quarterback they've had since probably Big Ben, right? And he's aging, but he played quite well in New York last year despite the record. So we'll see what they can put together there in Pittsburgh. I think they could be pretty good. We'll see. As long as there's no locker room issues and the offense does mesh with Rodgers. But coming in at 14, we have the Houston Texans. This is a team, they just feel a little stagnant at the moment. 10-7 the last 2 years. I think they're good enough to win the division and make the playoffs. I expect them to do that, but I don't know that I'm confident in them to be able to make the next step again. I don't think they're up to the tier of Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, teams like that. So they're kind of stuck in that good enough category for now. So 14 is where I place them. 13, the Minnesota Vikings. This is a team, and you'll see that they're pretty high in Super Bowl odds too. They won 14 games last year. The roster maybe got better, and they swapped. The biggest thing is they swapped Darnold for McCarthy. It's not like Darnold was that great. He benefited from the system, the players around him, the coaching, and I think J.J. McCarthy has a lot of upside, a lot of talent. So I'm really high on this Vikings team, and I could have even put them higher. Maybe I'm just like hesitant to because so many people seem to be not talking them up, but I don't know. I like the Vikings this year. Another team from that division I like is the Green Bay Packers. This can be such a good division. It's going to be a great division. It's going to be a dogfight all the way through. Packers are a great team this year. Should return to the playoffs. A bit of a bummer playoff game last year, kind of a dud there, but they're looking to overtake the Lions this year. We'll see if they can do it. I think they're trending in the right direction, and Jordan Love needs to maybe be a bit more consistent, but of course he needs to stay healthy first and foremost. So 12th for the Packers, 11th for the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a team that was tough to place. You have maybe a top 4 quarterback in the league, a top 2 receiver in the league, and your number 2 receiver might be one of the best number 2 receivers in the league, but then your O-line's very questionable. You have a solid running back, and then your defense is beyond questionable. Their defense is a mess. It's not like the worst in the league. It maybe gets a bit overhated, but it's towards the bottom. They got to shore that up, but they've proved they can win in the playoffs if they get there. Speaking of winning in the playoffs when they get there, number 10, we got the Washington Commanders, a team that shocked everyone last year by doing as good as they did, having 12 wins. And I think they're a great team, but they have some holes. and I think people aren't talking about that enough. Jaden Daniels is amazing. I expect him to continue to be amazing. But they had a fairly easy schedule last year. I want to see them do it again. I know Daniels can do it again. Can the rest of the team all put it together? Right now, I think they sit at 10th. I think that's a pretty appropriate spot. At 9th, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. I think this team's going to be great. Can they overcome the Chiefs finally? We'll see. I feel like every year you think they're gonna and they don't. But Harbaugh has this team. He has them clicking. He took a below-average roster to the playoffs last year, and the roster's only gotten better. They have some injury concerns already, so we will see, but I like what they're doing out there. I love the quarterback and coach combo. And speaking of quarterback coach combos from this division, we got Bo Nix and Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos with an elite defense, a great head coach. This team's going to be good. They're going to be very good, and I'm curious to see what they can do. Hopefully no sophomore slump for Bo Nix. And this team could be dangerous. The Chargers, and the Chiefs are going to be a 3-way hunt for the division crown. Until proven otherwise, it's the Chiefs' division to lose, but it's going to come down to the end this year. It's not a gimme anymore. But number 7, we move back to the NFC, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super underrated. This is a well-rounded team. Not too many holes on this roster. Maybe not as much top-tier talent as some of the others, but they don't have too many holes, like I just said. And Baker, I love the way he's been playing. They have a great receiving core. This is going to be a very good team, especially with an easy schedule. If they take advantage of that schedule, look out. If they get the 1 or 2 seed, get home field advantage, they could be an underrated Super Bowl contender. Coming in at number 6, another Super Bowl contender from the NFC, you have the Los Angeles Rams, a team that almost was a couple plays away from beating the Eagles last year, an Eagles team that dominated everyone else that they faced in the playoffs. So, this team has only gotten better. They shored up their run defense, which was their biggest issue against Philadelphia in those games. So we'll see. Stafford's got to stay healthy. That's always a question mark. He's already dealing with some back stuff. So we'll see. But if they stay healthy, they're going to be pretty dangerous, especially with McVay leading them. And at number 5, we move to the Detroit Lions, a team I think they're getting a bit overlooked now. Maybe I'm part of that, but I've seen them drop too low in some of these power rankings, and this is still a great team. This is a top 5 football team, and they're going to feed off a bit of that underdog mentality this year, just because I think losing the 2 coordinators, I agree, hurts them, but it's a great roster. They're going to be good again. Brutal schedule, so we'll see what they make of it, though. But they come in at 5. Coming in at 4, it's the Chiefs. I mean, they have to be top 4 at least. This is a team that won 15 games last year. I'm not sure how. They won, how many one-score games was it? Like 12 one-score games? I think it was about that many. Insane amount. Will they have the same luck this year? No. I think they're going to win less games, but they're still going to be right in the hunt. They shored up the O-line a bit. They get some of their offensive weapons back. They're going to be a great team. So whenever you have Mahomes and Reed at the helm, they're going to be a great team. You just can't deny it, and they should return to the postseason. Top 4 team for sure. Top 3 team, it gets tough here at this point. Number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens. You could argue them for number 1, and I wouldn't disagree. This is one of their best teams yet, and it's just another year. It's the same old story. It's the same thing as the Bills. We're going into the season, and it's like, well, this team could and maybe even should make and win the Super Bowl. So who's going to finally get by the Chiefs? We'll see. That's their biggest challenge. Regular season is more of a formality at this point. For this number 3 team. And I think it's even more so of a formality for my number 2 team, the Buffalo Bills. They would play in a pretty weak division. They'll walk their way to double-digit wins and a fairly easy divisional title. And it's just going to come down to, can they do it in the playoffs? Maybe they'll avoid the Chiefs and win the Super Bowl, but honestly, I feel like that would take away from the Super Bowl. I think if they win the Super Bowl, they want to go through the Chiefs to get there. So we'll see if they have to do that. But it really comes down to the playoffs for these guys, especially in that very weak division. But this is a great team. Great team. My Super Bowl favorite, honestly. And coming in at number 1, you can't put the defending Super Bowl champion any lower than this, especially when they really didn't get that much worse. They lost a couple guys, but nothing that's overly concerning to me. This is still, until proven otherwise, the best team in the NFL. And they've had some locker room blowups in the past, but they've recovered. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. You never know if they start to struggle, but I think they will continue to do well. And they're the current class of the NFC. So those are my preseason power rankings. Excited to look back at the end of the year and see just how wrong I was, because, you know, crazy stuff always happens in the NFL. You know, Washington and Denver last season, that was crazy. I know some people saw it coming to an extent, but we'll see. I wonder what teams those are going to be this year, and maybe in the first couple weeks we'll get a glimpse of that. I'm sure these power rankings will change very much just a couple weeks from now. So super excited for the season to start, and let me know what y'all think.